Why do I keep attracting the wrong man? Ladies, if this is the question that you've been asking yourself, you do not want to miss this show. My name is Dr. Tanisha Ford, and welcome to the Dr. Tanisha Ford Show. This show is about coming out of toxic and codependent relationships and learning how to love yourself, respect yourself, and accept yourself before you get involved with any man. And my guest today is someone who could tell us so well about this experience in her life. She is a licensed cosmetologist in the Down River area, and she agreed to be my guest today because she read a very important piece of information, my book, which I'm going to share with you a little later on in the show. Her name is Alicia Landis. Alicia, thank you so much for being a guest on the show.
Thank you for having me.
How are you doing today?
Fine.
Relax, relax. We're going to have fun. We're going to sister talk.
Yeah.
I want to ask you a question, Alicia. How many relationships have you had since you started dating, toxic relationships?
2, I would say.
2?
2.
Okay, do you want to tell me about one of them?
Well, I didn't really know I was in a toxic relationship until probably after I was already committed to him. And I just think his jealousy and his controlling me and...
So he was controlling, he was jealous. What are some of the other signs that you noticed that made you realize that he was not the guy that you should have been
He
with?
didn't like any of my friends, and you know, friends are very important to me in my life, so he didn't trust me. Whatever I would tell him I was doing, he'd accuse me of doing other things. And
Okay, so what attracted you to this person?
his charisma, he just, you know, I was lonely. I felt like being in a relationship's probably better than not being in a relationship at the time.
Okay, now ladies, you heard what she said, that she gave you several signs. That she said she didn't notice them, but she said he was controlling, number 1. He was jealous, he was manipulative, and he was very, very charming. Now these are signs that a lot of men that you're dating right now are displaying. How do you identify toxic relationships? Here are 5 signs that I feel are the most prevalent when identifying a toxic relationship. Does your significant other say that he loves you, but his actions don't show that he loves you?
Well, I had a lot of not being honest and you know, saying they love you but doing a lot of things, going out but not showing me love, you know, going shopping but not bringing me anything back. You know, it's not so much of me wanting things, but it's the thought that counts. Well, for a prime example is I was dating somebody and I would be with him all the time, him doing what he would do. And so, you know, in the prime time of it, I didn't get any type of, you know, emotion. I didn't get any type of, like, any recognition that I was here. Or, you know, because I was at his job, so he wouldn't recognize me, and, you know, at least be like, maybe, you okay with me, anything, or, you know.
Well, you know what, I've been in relationships where they told me that they love me, and they showed me that they did, but they did other things that made me think that they didn't. Like, they did things that I felt was disrespectful, and I think that respect is a part of love. And, you know, when you love somebody, you want to, you know, share your happiness with them. You want to make them happy, and you want them to make you happy, too. And it's not to say that you looking to somebody to create your happiness, not saying that. But, like, for example, if you tell somebody that if they cuss at you or they call you out your name or something like that, that's disrespectful, and you know that you don't want them to cross that line, and they do it anyway, then I feel like that. It's like, okay, you can't possibly love me. You don't feel the way you say you felt because that's just blatant disrespect. Because we already had an understanding that X, Y, and Z is crossing a line. You know what I mean?
Ladies, love is an action word, and a true display of love does not make you feel awful. When a man truly loves you, he is going to do everything in his power to honor you, protect you, provide for you, and show you adoration. His actions will not be selfish and controlling towards you. He is going to help you to become the best person you can become, to discover and release your best potential. Is your significant other extremely jealous?
It was kind of hard where he didn't want me going out, talking to other people. And so, me doing that, I had to stop talking to my friends a lot. I just had to stop doing things that I really like to do and focus more on him. The most jealous thing he had every day was call me out in front of a lot of people, being controlling as in, we need to go home right now. I want you right now to myself, and that's how I want things to be. And from there it got abusive.
I was in a jealous relationship where the person would accuse me of doing stuff that I wasn't doing, and one was controlling to a certain degree, but I didn't really look at it as being controlling at the time. But in retrospect, I see that it was a control mechanism. For example, he would try to speak against other people who were close to me to kind of make me be all to himself, and that was control. But I didn't look at it as being control because of the whole love thing, Okay, one of the people, I didn't have a car at the time, and I was going to the gym on a regular, and a friend of mine who was a male, no type of anything, just an actual platonic friend, had offered to give me a ride to the gym so I wouldn't take the bus or whatever from leaving from work. And I knew that my man at the time was jealous, and I'm like, man, he ain't even gonna believe that I got a ride from somebody just on the strength of getting a ride. So I lied, and I told a co-worker that if he came up to the shop to tell them that I left with whoever or whatever. And then he ended up calling the person who I said, and whatever. So I go to the gym. Next thing I know, he's there. But I didn't know that he was there on some sneaking up on me type of thing, like trying to catch me or something. But that's what it was. And it tripped me out, and I ended up, because I'm not a good liar. So I was just like, look, I just said that such and such had dropped me off up here because I knew that you wouldn't believe if I told you that so-and-so dropped me off up here for no, just whatever. And he was one of the ones that swore that everybody wanted me. Man, woman, dog, cat, whoever. Everybody looking at you, everybody wants you.
Jealousy is a deeply rooted rage that often stems from having a low self-esteem because there are feelings of inadequacy. Men who display extreme jealousy are men who often struggle with guilt, rejection, and low self-worth. If you are with an individual who displays these negative characteristics, your relationship may be inevitable to fail because he is so emotionally unstable. Does your significant other indulge in alcohol, drugs, or gambling?
He liked to, he loved to drink. He loved to smoke. If anything, he preferred smoking over drinking. But if he was around a group of people, how we were on that day, he would smoke and he would drink too as well. So it was more the smoking, the drinking, it overpowered him, and he became another person. It was more on the weekends he would drink, but when it came to smoking was everything thing. How we get up, get dressed, that's how it was with him to smoke. His drinking and smoking affected the relationship by him being more abusive, him being more willing to have arguments about very little things, such as because we live together, so such as if something wasn't right, he would want to fight. And, it would go on from there.
The guy that was a heavy drinker, the effect that it had on our relationship was it made him, sometimes it made him violent. It made him kind of reckless. Sometimes he was just fun, you know. It wasn't like every time he drank he turned into a monster or something like that, you know. It's not that type of thing, but there were, you know, times where he was drunk and he would stay in the casino like a shift and a half. He would get so drunk and would come home. Like one time I came home and I went in the bathroom. I'm like, why is he in the bathroom? And I didn't hear anything. I opened the bathroom door and it's like he passed out drunk, but he's sitting on the toilet. And I was like, I had never seen nothing like that in my life. So I'm about to call 911 or something, about to panic. You know what I mean? I'm like, this cat is faded for real. And I'm like, That's what really made me be like, nah, this ain't what's up right here. I felt like I could change him and stop him from drinking if I put it in a way that I was okay with him doing it, as long as he didn't go overboard with it. If I told him that the way that he is when he doesn't drink is, you know, cool and, you know, whatnot, but without bashing him drinking. Because, you know, sometimes if you bash somebody so much about something, it make them rebel. Like, even if, like, sometimes a person will cut off their nose just to spite their face. You know what I mean? So I kind of had that with it, like, okay, well, you know, maybe if I'm 3 or 4's life about him getting drunk so much, he'll like kind of calm down, you know what I mean? Or maybe if he see the type of person that I am, maybe he'll value me or value the relationship enough to at least take into consideration that he needs to change that, you know. But after a while, I just, you know, realized, like, you know what, you can't change anybody. You know, if somebody wants to change, they're going to have to change themselves, or they're going to have to find something in themselves to say, you know what, I need God to help me change, you know, if they can't do it themselves.
Addictions are always going to negatively impact your life, because you may find yourself trying to rescue this individual and become an enabler. This codependent behavior will cause you to lose your self-worth and your sense of identity. It is more likely that he will bring you down than you are able to help him up. We will be right back after this commercial break.
I Miss the Hugs, But Not the Hurts is the first book by Dr. Tanisha Ford that shares with many women her own personal experience with toxic and codependent relationships. To order, go to www.drtford.com. This book will take you on a provocative journey that you will never forget. I Miss the Hugs, But Not the Hurts will encourage you to love yourself, to set higher goals and enhance your self-esteem. You must have the desire to create a positive image of yourself and, above all, believe in your self-worth. To www.drtford.com.
Honey, what are we gonna do with the kids this summer?
S&K Bouncers! By renting one of their 3-in-1 bouncers, available for all occasions. Birthdays, picnics, family outings, and oh, guess what? They be any and all prices. Their 3-in-1 bouncers are only $225 for a full day setup. I need you to call and reserve one right now at 313-208-6716.
That's what's up, I'm about to call them now.
Wouldn't you like to know who the father is? For professional DNA testing that costs less than a do-it-yourself kit called DNA Dimensions. It's easy. With a simple swab of the mouth, you can put all doubt to rest. Confidential results in 3 business days. DNA Dimensions, with convenient locations in Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb counties. Walk-ins welcome in Detroit and Flint. Call toll-free 855-DNA-TEST. That's 855-362-8378. DNA Dimensions, removing all doubt.
Experience this life-changing story that will leave you refreshed, renewed, and inspired to face life's most challenging times. This is a comma, not a period in your life, by Dr. Tanisha Ford. You will never look at sickness and other life's challenges the same again. This is a comma, not a period in your life, by Dr. Tanisha Ford. Go to www.drtford.com to order today.
Welcome back to the Dr. Tanisha Ford Show. Does your significant other physically and mentally abuse you?
We went out and we went down the street and we went back to his house, and I had my bike on the porch, and he basically threw me down the stairs and my bike at me. So
he physically and mentally abused me in certain ways, as in, always yelling at me, being very controlling, wanting me to do something that, as in, I didn't want to do with him. He would, at times, he would hit me. He would, do certain things, as in where it would cause me to have bruises. It's been one special occasion where he beat me right here, and I had to go to the hospital for that. And, he would, just down talk me if, I didn't do something that was pointed by him. But, it all goes back to the alcohol issue and smoking.
I was in a situation where the person who drank a lot, we had gotten into he hadn't struck me up to that point. Like, he had pushed me, or he would like try to like squeeze me or something like that, or he'll like shove me around. One time he had like locked me in a closet, but I wasn't in the closet for like that long. Alright, so we were at the after party for an award show, but we weren't there together because we had been broken up for a while. And he we had got into it. I can't remember what we got into it about, but we got into it, and he had pushed me, and like security had seen him push me and was like, "Look, dude, you ain't gonna be doing it up in here, so I'm gonna toss you out." So he ended up catching me somewhere else. I was coming out the restroom or whatever it was, and he tried to like hand me up against the wall or whatever, and the security saw him and tossed him out. So I go home, and at this point, like I said, he would just pop up randomly at my apartment. So like the security guard would walk with me to the apartment or whatever. So security was walking with me to the apartment, and when I opened the door, I saw his coat on the couch, and I was like, oh snap, he had broken my apartment. He came in through a window. So like right when I was like, oh snap, and like, how you just look side to side real quick, I hadn't even walked like in. Like my bedroom was over there. So like I saw his arm duck back in the closet. He was hiding in my closet. He was waiting on me. And in my mind, I'm thinking that he probably thought that I was drunk or something and was just gonna pass out, and I don't know what he was gonna do. But he was waiting in my closet. So I turned to run, and like when I ran, it's like he grabbed me by the back of my hair, and like the security, she a female, but she was like big, like she needed to be on the Lions or something, like for real, like she could be a linebacker or something. So like she had tried to grab him, but he broke her, so he had grabbed me by the back of my hair, and like he just threw me on the ground. And like when he threw me on the ground, I slid across and slammed into the wall, and then he was kicking me and stuff. And then he had picked me up like by my neck and was like, you think you just gonna leave me like I'm nothing? You think you just gonna da-da-da-da-da-da-da? And I'm like, but I used to watch wrestling, and I was kind of like a tomboy, so I had to do that Trish Stratus faction move. Anybody watch wrestling, they know that. Don't judge me. So I was on the wall, and he was about to try to like choke slam me in the floor. Now the floor is like cement, like painted cement. So like I flung my body weight and did like a cartwheel thing on the wall and grabbed his ankle and flipped myself around. And then he had kicked me. And he ran, and like the police got there, I swear it's like the police got there in like 2 minutes. I ain't never seen police get nowhere that fast. It's like they got there in 2 minutes and he just like vanished. Like they couldn't find him. It affected me a lot because it made me feel like, I don't know, it's weird because it made me feel like I was stupid. It made me feel like, how didn't I see it coming or whatever. But even when I play it back, it's like, it's not like I was with him. It's not like I said we broke up, but we still acted like we were together. It wasn't nothing like that. We were broken up. And it wasn't even a new breakup. It had been like months that passed. and that happened. So it made me distrustful. It made me kind of pessimistic on relationships for the long term. It made me just look at men in a different way, and it made me kind of, I guess, shifty. I didn't want to stay in one place too long. So it kind of put me in gypsy mode, because I kind of felt like, okay, he gonna find me. Wherever I'm at, he gonna find me. You know, it was kind of like that. I didn't move away or nothing like that, but it did kind of mess with me.
Remember what I said about love. When a man loves you, he is going to protect you and show you adoration. Physical and verbal abuse are not characteristics of love. No one has the right to cause another person bodily harm and inflict emotional trauma through unkind words. A man who is abusive is a coward and does not deserve to be given the attention from a good and loving woman. He needs help, and he needs to be alone. Offer him support by pointing him into the direction when he can get and receive assistance. Have you done all you can do to make the relationship work, and you are still clearly very unhappy?
When I was in a relationship and became unhappy, it was kind of like, how can I word it? I was happy, but different incidents happened that kind of chipped away at the happiness until it was just gone. And I stayed because I grew up in a household. I grew up in a two-parent household. Well, I guess you could say three, but the two-parent household. And I wanted my son to have that.
Remember, a toxic relationship is draining and destructive. Staying in a toxic relationship too long can be detrimental to your health. Literally, a toxic relationship can affect your physical, emotional, psychological, and spiritual well-being. You are better off being alone. Let the restoration and healing process begin. Become reacquainted with yourself and discover your own uniqueness. Now remember, ladies, these are just guidelines that should help you determine if you are in a toxic relationship. If all of these qualities mentioned are evident in the relationship and they are constantly happening, you are more likely to be in a toxic relationship. However, if these qualities are an isolated incident and are not to the extreme, weigh it out. You may not like these qualities, but with open communication, your relationship may be worth saving. Also, make sure that you are not displaying these same negative qualities. If you want to be treated right, you've got to be the one to get the one. We will be right back for my inspirational thoughts for today.
I Miss the Hugs, But Not the Hurts is the first book by Dr. Tanisha Ford that shares with many women her own personal experience with toxic and codependent relationships. To order, go to www.drford.com. This book will take you on a provocative journey that you will never forget. I Miss the Hugs, But Not the Hurts will encourage you to love yourself, to set higher goals and enhance your self-esteem. You must have the desire to create a positive image of yourself and above all, believe in your self-worth. To www.drford.com.
Honey, what are we gonna do with the kids this summer?
S&K Bouncers! By renting one of their 3-in-1 bouncers, available for all occasions. Birthdays, picnics, family outings, and oh, guess what? They be any and all prices. Their 3-in-1 bouncers are only $225 for a full day setup. I need you to call and reserve one right now at 313-208-6716.
That's what's up, I'm about to call them now.
You're sleeping on Rough Dog Entertainment. The package, the album is in stores right now, featuring songs like Facebook Pro, D-Boy Thing, know y'all love that Chevy sitting high. You can also download it on iTunes or Amazon. And check us out on Facebook, Moco Space, and YouTube. Rough Dog ENT. RUFFDOGGENT.
Wouldn't you like to know who the father is for professional DNA testing that costs less than a do-it-yourself kit called DNA Dimensions? It's easy. With a simple swab of the mouth, you can put all doubt to rest. Confidential results in 3 business days. DNA Dimensions with convenient locations in Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb counties. Walk-ins welcome in Detroit and Flint. Call toll-free 855-DNA-TEST. That's 855-362-8378. DNA Dimensions, removing all doubt.
Experience this life-changing story that will leave you refreshed, renewed, and inspired to face life's most challenging times. This is a comma, not a period in your life, by Dr. Tanisha Ford. You will never look at sickness and other life's challenges the same again. This is a comma, not a period in your life, by Dr. Tanisha Ford. Go to www.drford.com to order today.
I Miss the Hugs, But Not the Hurts is the first book by Dr. Tanisha Ford that shares with many women her own personal experience with toxic and codependent relationships. To order, go to www.drford.com. This book will take you on a provocative journey that you will never forget. I Miss the Hugs, But Not the Hurts will encourage you to love yourself, to set higher goals and enhance your self-esteem. You must have the desire to create a positive image of yourself and above all, believe in your self-worth. To www.drford.com.
Ladies, I would like to invite you to join our movement. If you are a woman who wants to discover and release your full potential, I would like for you to join our organization, Your Own Uniqueness. Our organization will help empower you to reach your full potential by overcoming the barriers that will hinder you from doing so. So if you're a woman who wants to reach your full potential, and you're having problems with that, or you're a woman that can help somebody reach their full potential, join our organization by going to www.drtford.com. And remember, you have a purpose. And when you discover your own uniqueness, you'll discover true happiness.